Hi guys, my name is Mohammed Javed, performance is my passion, and today I will be reviewing the 2011 Kia Sportage. Today I will be filming at this beautiful location at Eastridge High School. Today the snow is melting, spring is coming very soon this year, and I thought it would be a very good day to film since it's sunny and nice out. So let's start off with the vehicle right now. As you could see on the front, it is a little bit dirty, but that does show up a little bit more since it has black paint, and I really think it looks pretty good. It was one of the first Korean cars that actually sold very well in the US, and that is partly because it's an SUV and partly because the styling, Kia did not let you down with the styling. And coming from a Ford guy, that is a lot. I mean, I do have bias, guys. No matter how much you tell me in the comments, I have bias. So, fair enough. But this actually looks pretty good. I mean, you got standard fog lamps down here. You have chrome pieces all over the place. The headlights are halogen at the corners. Those are the daytime running lights as well. And as this tacky sticker suggests, this is the all-wheel drive version with 2.4 liter four-cylinder engine. And I actually like the front and the side styling of the vehicle. I mean, you get a big Kia badge finished in black. I mean, usually it's finished in red, but it goes well with the paint of this specific car. And you get a pretty big grille here and a smaller one. And you also get a surprising amount of ground clearance here as well, which is surprising. And thanks to my license plate building abilities, it does say young driver at the front. So that's another nice feature of the front as well. Let's take a look at the side styling. So I already showed you that badge. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you can't tell that this is an off-roading SUV standing for Sport Utility Vehicle, then you know this tells you that it's that it's an SUV. So that's pretty good. The wheels are pretty big compared to some of the vehicles I've tested on the channel before. These are 18-inch wheels, and on an SUV, that's actually probably as big as it gets. If you go any bigger than that, you will compensate on the off-road abilities. Taking another look up here, you do have turning indicators on the mirrors as well. Some newer vehicles have this, and that's kind of a cool feature for someone who doesn't have it on their own cars. I actually quite like those. Now, if I open the door with the chrome door handles, and I climb up here, I can show off the roof racks up here, and you could also put some crossbars across the whole roof, so you could get skis, bicycles, all sorts of cool things up there. Or kayaks even, if you're into that, which I am. Taking a look at the fuel cap, it is not a special one. I mean, there's no Ford Easy Fuel system since that was patented by Ford, thank you very much. But you do have a cool sticker that tells you unleaded fuel only. And, I mean, no one really sells leaded gasoline in the U.S. anymore, but this sticker does tell it in all sorts of languages, like Arabic, you have Spanish, French, and Italian, English. I mean, you have quite a few common languages. But something interesting is that there's no languages of Asia on there. There's no Korean. There's no Chinese. There's nothing. And I mean, for a car that's from Korea, I mean, I'm kind of surprised by that. So I guess this was more designed for other markets of the world. But hey, that's pretty cool. You get some reversing sensors back here as well, so you get not one, not two, but four. One here, one here, one here, and one there. You get a backup camera, so if the sensors aren't enough for you and you're still gonna hit something, this is here to back you up. You do have your trunk release here, and you have a rear wiper, obviously. Brake lights here, and the lights are actually pretty big. So most people always ask the owner of the vehicle why they're so big, and that's mainly because that's all you'll be seeing whenever you race them. So yeah. Now, a cool way of telling that this is a US spec car is that US legislation says you can't have your turn signals on a moving piece of panel. So I mean, as you can see, this is a moving piece of panel. You can't have them up here. So Kia integrated them into here. So in pretty much every other market, like the Asian markets and the European market, This is just a reflector. It does nothing more than that. But in the US, it's actually also the turn signal. So that's an interesting way of telling the difference between a US spec car versus a European spec car. And since we spoke about the exterior plenty, let's take a look inside the trunk and see if I fit in there as usual. So, I mean, okay, it's pretty spacious, but for a few reasons, this is actually a pretty high floor. So, Kia has this integrated system, foam actually, it's made out of foam, but it's these separated plates so that if you have small things that you want to put in the back, but you don't want them to flop around like that, right? All you have to do is pull this carpet up, pull this little latch, and you could put them down here. So that's kind of cool, actually. I like that feature. But does that mean that suddenly Mohammed cannot fit back there? I don't think so. I mean, okay, it's pretty snug. I mean, I could definitely close the latch back here. I wouldn't be comfortable as such, but I could definitely fit back here. So let's take a look at the engine compartment now. And as you can see, it is Kia's 2.4 liter dual overhead cam 16 valve engine. It is 4 cylinders and it has 169 pound-feet of torque, more than some competing vehicles like the similar Escape that I tested a few weeks back, which was my dad's car, but that had 160, so this has 9 pound-feet of torque more, and horsepower is 144, which the Escape had 170. So on the horsepower front, it's a little bit lower, but on the torque front, it's pretty decent. Now, like some other Japanese and Korean cars, basically Asian cars, it does have engine mounts up here with a few basic bolts, and that is so you could repair it easily. I mean, since it is South Korean in this case, or Japanese cars, the Asian cars typically don't really break, and you will never ever have to open that, I promise you that. But still, if you do, it's nice to know that you can. And taking a look up here, you do also have an Eng oil dipstick. What is Eng oil, guys? Come on. I know it's an abbreviation, but Eng oil, that's a bit excessive. So after reviewing some of the cool exterior features of the vehicle, let's pull out the switchblade style key and take it for a test drive. And the handbrake, put it into drive, and let's take it for a spin. Alright, so off the get-go, the car does have plenty of power to dispose of, and the brakes are very sharp too. For an SUV, it does handle pretty well, and the shocks would be stiffer than some American SUVs, since this is Korean and they're not as comfortable. But since it's an SUV, it's still pretty decent handling and very well, very comfortable too. So I like the driving of it. The steering wheel doesn't have much feedback, but I don't think that's the point of the vehicle. The point is to have some basic off-road capabilities and some, and a lot of comfort. And that's what this car does very well. It has both of those features. And since I'm driving the automatic, it does actually have a manual mode. So let me show this to you guys. So right now, it's in drive, and then if I push the lever here and start driving, it shows a 1 in the gauge cluster, which is really interesting. It's a tiny little 1 instead of D. And wow, very sharp steering. I'm actually impressed. All right, push it forward and we're in second, third, fourth. Well, it actually locks me out of fourth right now, since it doesn't want me going any higher, since it needs the torque to keep on accelerating. But it's very good, actually. I kind of like the feel of it. Yeah, right now I'm locked into second gear, so at certain points you can't really go higher than a certain gear at specific speeds, and that's so that you don't that's just so that you don't run out of puff on the road and then create a traffic jam behind you. I like the driving style. Oh, and then right now it just downshifted back into first for me, since I didn't downshift it myself. It does that automatically, so that's kind of cool. And if we turn here and I will brake not very hard since this isn't my own car, and that would create a little bit of trouble, but I'll just slow down, and brakes are pretty sharp. I mean, for a 20 to 0 stop, and it wasn't to the floor stop either, it was very impressive. I actually really like it. So the driving style of the vehicle, it will not let you down, I promise you that. So let's take a look at the interior now. So now let's take a look at some of the interior features. And first of all, I mean, okay, the latch of the steering control is on this side, which is a little hard for you guys to see. But for me, I just pulled it down here, and I could pull it in and out. So if you're a shorter guy like me, at 5'3", then you could mess around with a steering wheel quite a bit. Now you just, the seats are electric in all directions, so you could tilt it, you could pretty much play around in here if you're a little bit more immature, but I'm not, so, yeah, I don't play around with those, I promise you that. You have quite a few buttons here, so you have the parking sensors, you know, I showed you that in the back already, and you have the button to turn those on and off here. You have the lights for the gauges up, the setting for that here. You have a differential lock here, which is cool. Hill descent control and traction control off. Pretty standard stuff, but I really like that. The steering wheel does have quite a few buttons on it here, but it's actually pretty neat in that way. You have the ones that you will consistently use, like the radio volume, basically radio controls here, some of the cruise control settings here, which is nice, and you have some phone settings here as well, and it also has voice recognition as well, which is kind of cool. The Escape had that as well, so don't think that this is the only vehicle in the world to have that. You have two handles here and here, so I'm a little surprised that it has it here. The main reason, honestly, is that this is a worldwide car, so they want to make one part and just share it in all vehicles. But jokes aside, I mean, if you're a cop, you can handcuff perps to this, and if you're a little bit scared, I mean, this is not an autonomous car, so don't think that you could just let go of this and sing Jesus Take the Wheel, because that won't happen anytime soon. But, you know, drive responsibly as always. But yeah, I mean, the main reason is that they just wanted to make one part and share it across the world. You have this visor here so that if your Ray-Bans are not in your hand's reach like mine today, I forgot them at home, you just pull these in and out, and you don't have to mess around with this too much. You have a mirror here, I mean a mirror light, sorry. So here it is. You could turn that on or off individually, so that if you are really OCD about that, you could turn it on and off yourself. So, hey, that's kind of cool. Space for your sunglasses as always. Interior is kind of cool over here, the center stack, and you get a pretty standard radio. You get a little screen, so switchblade key out, and okay, it says UVO, powered by Microsoft, and I'll be honest with you, it does look quite a bit like the Ford startup system, but that is, if I let you in on a little secret, they're both powered by Microsoft, and they kind of cheaped out in that way by putting the same stuff here. So, no biggie. If I turn the vehicle on for you, you do have climate controls down here. Okay, stop bonging. And you could turn it higher, lower, but make sure that the driver is pretty chill about this stuff, since if you have a dad like mine, he will you know, at home he consistently tells me to not mess around with these too much. So you will get into quite a few arguments over that, I promise you that. You get seat warmers. Yes, finally a car that I review and it has seat warmers. So even though this has cloth seats, you still get them, and you have the settings down here. The shifter has a manual shift function, as I showed you before. And if I show you the seats, I mean, here are the heating pads. These are the individual elements that warm up, and you also get something here that says airbag, right? So you have an airbag in the seat that if you have an accident, it pops out, and it says clean text. So that is recycled cloth for your seats. So this car is more environmentally friendly than a Toyota Prius. And you also get some more stuff down here. So you get two, not one, but two auxiliary plugins, you get your aux cord, and you have a USB plug-in for your music. The owner of this vehicle does have USBs in there consistently for his music. Nice solution. And it also is a pretty nice space for a GPS system. Yeah. You just pop the cord in there, and you pretty much have your navigation system. Some vehicles did have navigation as an option from factory. This one isn't equipped with it, so that's a cool aftermarket solution to that. This is finished in plastic, but it feels a little bit like metal, so that it's pretty nice. It's not scratchy like the Corolla was. Up here, you get more traditional plastic, but it's a little bit more top-notch stuff, so it's not cheap. It's not cheaped out in the interior department. You also get this little sensor here, so that's your light sensor, so that if you have the automatic headlights on, like I do right now, so when the vehicle's on, it senses, you know, it's dark, it needs to turn on. That little sensor is what tells it to turn on and off, pretty much. So that's kind of cool, and that's all there is to say about the interior, at least up front as of now. So let's go back there and I'll show you the rest of it. So, taking a look back here, it is pretty nice. I mean, the cloth seats are nice. Here, they also have these heating elements as well, so you get heated seats in the back. You do have a drop-down center console back here, so you get 2 cup holders, and it's also a really comfortable armrest, finished in premium recycled cloth, to be environmentally friendly, of course. The seats, as always, they drop down, so if I do it here, you just pull a latch up here, and you pull it down like that. And the cool thing about this vehicle, actually, is that you could also release them from inside of the trunk, so that if you're back there and you need to drop them down quickly, you just pull that, and they're down. You have another cup holder back here, so you get a total of 4 cup holders in the back, and that somehow that doesn't make sense. There's 3 people back here, and, I mean, technically 2, so I mean, I guess Koreans drink a lot of stuff. Water, orange juice, apple juice if you're 5. I don't know, but make sure to stay hydrated. It's not good for you guys if you go without water for a long period of time. And you do also get these leather pads down here, which is kind of nice. I mean, it doesn't go along with the rest of the interior, since the rest of it is cloth, but hey, that's still pretty good. You get curtain airbags, as always, on these newer vehicles, which is nice, and you get coat hangers. But if you don't want to look at them back here, you just fold them up, pull them down, fold them up, pull them down, and that's pretty much all there is to the back of the interior. So, since I really like the vehicle, let's give it a score. We will start off with insurance. All in all, I mean, I did some research. $500 to $1,000 a year. That's how much you're going to be paying depending on your carrier. That I will give 6 points, since it's a little bit more than previous vehicles. I mean, if you drive this as your second, third car, that's pretty decent. But as a first car, that's pushing it. $1,000 a year is pushing it. So 6 points. In the fun category, I actually really like this vehicle. It was pretty fun to drive in an SUV kind of way. It does have plenty of off-roading capabilities from the all-wheel drive and the traction control, and it's pretty spacious. I mean, it has things that I would want in a car, so 8 points seems reasonable for this vehicle. I like it. Parents, what are they going to think about this vehicle? Honestly, this is a more expensive vehicle. If you really try, you could pick one up for $6,000. Like, you would really have to search those. But it's between $6,000 to $16,000. You're not going to get it at 6, though. Let's be honest. You're going to start at 8 all the way up to 16,000. So, since it is a little bit more expensive, but everything else about the vehicle is good. It's not... it's very reliable, spacious. It's a very good vehicle for a family, and for those reasons, it should rack up to 7. So 7 plus 8, 15, plus 6 more should be 21. 21 out of 30. That is a little bit lower than some of the vehicles we've had before on the channel, but that is on the scoring system based on
what a younger driver would want, what you would want out of a first vehicle, and it's a very good car. If this was just a score that you would get for your second or third vehicle, this could probably get 29 out of 30. So I am impressed with the vehicle. So if you are looking for a first vehicle that will last you for 10 years or something like that, then do check this car out. 2011 Kia Sportage. I would like to thank the owner again for letting me test and drive the vehicle. That is a lot to ask from someone. And Mr. Farhad Khavami, thank you very much for the opportunity, for your generosity, for letting me do this with your car. As always, you guys should subscribe, like, and share the video with your friends. There is a lot of good videos coming, so you should probably press that little bell icon so you stay notified for upcoming videos. As always, make sure to comment any ideas you have down below or any complaints that you have down below so I can make better content. I will respond to any comment within the first week of the video going up, or any time really. Just comment down below and I'll respond. If you have any questions about what makes a good first car, any questions car related, make sure to email me. As always, I'm Mohammed Javed, performance is my passion, and I'll see you next time on The Young Driver.